Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 9th of November, comes to you from London. And we will come back and just take a look at what's going on in energy markets. Interesting, just starting to look at some things like Fibonacci retracements, just in terms of measuring this recovery. So if we come and look at the main markets first, this is Ethereum, which I hold, by the way, I should disclose, and that's just rocketing at the moment, upside targets. You can't really, I don't know how anyone can really trade without these targets. We start by looking at the dollar index, the dollar weekly, daily, and 60-minute charts, and the corresponding point and figure charts targets. So if we're below the cloud, we're bearish. We're above the cloud, we're bullish. And of course, these are the different time frames and how they manage with each other. And I'm running on Refinitiv Icon, but you can run on lots of different data services with an Updata, and you can just configure them on the fly. I have several services running, so that means that when I come to draw a chart, I've got all these different data services available to me. But for the most part here, we're looking at Refinitiv Icon. So the dollar is just looking a little bit weaker these last couple of days, but still looking very strong on that medium-term trend. That means the euro, of course, is just looking a little bit stronger, so that's quite key as well. And if we look at sterling, we're sitting above the 135 level again. We've just recovered on that dollar weakness, making a little bit of a higher low there, but of course interest rates being the key thing in the UK, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. We're sitting at 117.19 against the euro again. Sterling just looking edging higher all the time on that long-term trend. Bitcoin sitting nearly at $68,000. No big surprises there. We've got targets to 70, 72, 83, so really quite key there. And if we look at the S&P 500 index, it was up very slightly yesterday, but the trends are still very, very much intact. So we're marching up the hill still. No signs yet of a fallback, and we're gunning towards these short-term targets on the 60-minute chart. Looking at the Nasdaq, much the same picture there. And if we look at the S&P future this morning, it's down very slightly, and the Nasdaq E-mini is up very slightly, so our call for the market open will be flat. We're seeing the VIX volatility, the fear index, just kicking up a little bit on the short term there. We're just pulling back, but really is nothing major to worry about. Looking at the DAX in Germany, up 0.12%. The CAC Quarante, no change. And if we look into Asia, we saw that Tokyo was down 0.8%. Hang Seng down it was up 0.2%. The Sensex was down slightly. So a pretty mixed picture. The Aussie market down 0.25% as well. So pretty mixed picture in Asia. The Sensex still going towards this new, and there will be a new target here as well. So that's going to be quite key. So we'll look at the energy mix in a minute. Soft commodities continuing to surge ahead. Wheat activating all these upside targets, looking very strong indeed, and that's going to fuel inflationary fears, of course. Corn is also up 0.5%. Gold at 18.24. That's the highest it's been for a little while. So we are just starting to see that kick out there on gold. So that is quite good news for gold bulls. And if we look at the chart here, we see we are just starting to break that trend. So maybe we're just starting to see gold getting ready for a break and run. So that's quite good for precious metals. Silver is actually down slightly. Silver has a lot of work to do to break the range. We break above 30, then we're going to the moon on silver, but that can't happen until we break above 30. Palladium is up 0.5%. So we are just seeing that recovery this week continuing. Precious metals looking like they may well have put in a bottom there. Copper is sitting at 442, just again looking quite bullish there. US 10-year yields back below 1.5%, 1.48. So just looking weaker there as interest rate fears recede. Looking at the energy mix now, we'll start by looking at Dutch gas, TTF, the main European contract. And here I've just done a Fibonacci retracement, the move from there to there. Where are the levels? And 38.2 is at 99.90, so let's just say 100 is a really important level for gas and for TTF, and the 61.8 is at 123.60. Again, let's say 125. So those are the levels that the market's got to really push for, and so that's going to be really interesting to see whether we can start to get through these levels. There are other retracements you could draw. You could draw one from here, for example, but that's the big one, and so that's, are we going to manage to recover, or will we make new lows? Interestingly, at the moment, we do have a little mini trend going on, and if we look at that with the key level levels. We can just plate that on the chart. Really handy, that feature. 71 to 81. That's it, basically. That's really the range that we're trading in. We really do need to hold that 80 euro mark. That was the previous level on the chart. It's quite often the case that support becomes resistance once support is broken, and you can see that lines up very nicely with that level. So that's what's happening with gas markets. But looking at the energy mix in general, we've got crude oil here, much the same. We've got this little mini target, and from my morning call that's gone out to clients first thing this morning, these are the little targets that we're looking at. So we're just waiting for these breaks here, and that's showing up. So really the point of the analysis is you follow the charts in the analysis and then watch these charts updating in the day. And if we then go to US nat gas, that was the clearest one we were bearish on this morning. And we've got downside targets there, so that is really breaking down. We said yesterday be bearish below 550. That's where we are. We're in bearish territory. Emissions, we're seeing that move above that 60 level, but just struggling to really break higher. Already a little mini pattern just going on here in emissions, and that's really what we're watching for now, is a little break of that pattern. So there's a triangle building. Watch for that break today. That's going to be quite key. And if we look at the gas markets, we talked about this already. MBP, interestingly, we've got targets in both directions there. Don't forget to play with these box sizes as well. So here we see we've got an upside target 241, a downside target 172. Really could go either way. Big moves if we break, and that's really what we have to watch. And your OTC targets will be even more accurate, of course, on your Trayport data. Looking at German power, much the same picture here. We've got a little mini upside target. If we do break this 119 level, though, that's the level we've given to clients this morning. If we do break that level, that's going to be really significant. And we're seeing on Nordic power, we had that target, we've reached that target, really starting to look like we might recover through the cloud, but very different chart from most other power markets, of course. So keep an eye on those targets all through today. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.